Hey friends, welcome back to the Aligned and Unstoppable podcast. I am Emily Aarons, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Kisha Woods, also known as Coach K, and I absolutely know you're going to love this episode. So if you're somebody who is a coach, a healer, or a leader, and you've been stuck in a rut and needing motivation and needing accountability and wanting to basically put yourself first and prioritize your growth, this is the episode for you. What you're going to listen to on this week's podcast is a lot of truth. And what I love about Kisha is that she is a straight shooter. She just tells you like it is. And she is so self-motivated. It's very inspiring to listen to her story and how she got into becoming a transformational coach. So in this week's episode, I want to make sure that you take a screenshot and tag me and Coach K on Instagram. We'll have the links right beneath us. And if you haven't yet, I was actually a guest on Kisha's podcast, which is called Empowering Real Talk. And we'll have a link to that below as well, because I want to make sure that you can see me on her episodes as well as listen to her here. I'll have all that linked below, and I would love to hear how this week's episode, affects you. I feel like it's very inspiring, but it's also kind of like a spirit dope slap in a way where, we can't mess around. We have to take responsibility for our stuff, and we have to step up and realize our potential and be willing to sacrifice to be able to make it happen. So I'm going to stop my talking and let's get into this week's episode with Kisha Woods. All right, friends, welcome back to the Aligned and Unstoppable podcast. My favorite episodes are usually the ones that I have guests, and today is one of those episodes. I am joined by Kisha Woods, and I invited Kisha on. We just kind of figured it out. We met through a podcasting connector thing. And I just told her, I'm like, you're the only person I've actually really liked that I've met on there. We really just vibe. I was on Kisha's podcast, the Empowering Real Talk podcast, maybe, oh my gosh, it was months and months and months ago at this point. But she's just super cool. She's a coach. She's self-made. She's, helping other people live their best life. She's an author. She's literally sitting in front of her published book, which is so awesome. And it was like the best spirit dope slap for me. From my guides are like, look, she's got a book. Write the damn book already. But we're not going to get into that today. I really want to dive into my listeners can get to know you a little bit better. And then I really want to open up the conversation around, what it takes to have this relentless spirit, to keep moving forward, to keep innovating, and to keep growing personally and professionally. So before we get into that, who the hell are you, Kisha? Let's talk about that.
Well, thank you for having me, Emily. I am super geeked to be here. Our vibe and energy just from you being on my show and our conversations have been so dope. So this is going to be no different. So thank you for having me. Again, I am Kisha. I go also by Coach K Woods. I'm the founder of Upgraded Mindsets. My primary passion is a transformational mindset coach for women, but I call myself a serial entrepreneur. And I actually have online store. I am an author, new author here. I am an administrative consultant for some small businesses. I am an independent travel advisor. I have a business with two other phenomenal ladies that we share our space here where we provide personal and business development for small businesses here locally. And I'm just really walking into purpose. And I used to be a negatively frustrated ass person, and I put the tools in place and I am really walking in my purpose right now. So it's just an amazing feeling today. So
saying all those different things, do you happen to know your human design type by any chance?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it's another language. Even if you knew it, I probably couldn't even speak that language, to be totally transparent. But the vibe that you're giving me is like a manifesting generator, which are like the little mighty engines that could. I also am a manifesting. I'm like,
I love that. I'll take it.
right? And so you can do multiple projects and it's never overwhelming. It's just like
Yeah.
part of who you are. And I love that. And I think that also gives people permission to have multiple interests and to be
Yes.
multi-passionate and not to feel so limited to only doing one thing, and realizing, wow, I can do all the things that I love and enjoy all of them. Okay, cool. So
That part.
I would love for you to share that part. I would love for you to share, like, how did you get into becoming a transformational coach and a mentor for people?
Well, I actually have always had that like unofficial coach mentor mentality, right?
Yeah.
People always attracted themselves to me to talk to me because they just knew that, for one, I wasn't going to go back and tell other people's business and stuff like that. They actually labeled me the bone collector at my previous job in corporate America because they knew that they could confide in me and I wasn't going to go back and tell the boss or tell other coworkers, and same with family and friends. And what was happening with me is, though, I was suppressing a lot of my stuff internally. And as women, we carry that. We suppress a lot of things in life because we're told to just bear the brunt of everything, be strong, quote unquote, and just keep going. And I lived that life, but unfortunately, it was mentally frustrating the hell out of me.
Mm.
I didn't realize at the time that I was mentally frustrated, but I was like snapping out on people at the drop of a dime, frustrated about the things that they weren't doing, but I'm stepping up to do it without hesitation. And it kind of took its toll in 2020, at the time where the pandemic was beginning to kick off and lockdowns were going on. I had to take a step back. I took a detox from social media for 30 days. And that's actually where my book transpired from. From Habit to Healing is actually my 30-day journal of April of 2020 when I was off of social media. It has all of my thoughts in there. It has the resources that I was using to, begin my transformation and establish the clarity that I didn't really have for myself. I began a journey of self-prioritization and created an unapologetic, confident ass lifestyle for myself. Unapologetic, I use that word because I just no longer worry about what anyone has to say about what I do in life. And I want to show others how to do the same.
Mm.
Coming from a mental low to an unapologetic high is an amazing experience. And I want to be able to give that to everybody else that is ready and willing to put in the work to get there.
That's the key right there. Who is willing to put in the work. So I want to like dive right into that nugget, because you can't go from like feeling like hell and like a
Yeah.
doormat and feeling resentful and out of alignment and just like lousy, to then feeling like unapologetic and becoming like unfuckwithable. Like
Period. You definitely
that's
can't.
so like, and I was just kind of saying before we started recording, is like, I'm having conversations with folks who are feeling like they're in that rut where you used to be. They're feeling like they're in that rut, but they're also almost playing like this is inevitable. I can't change the situation. It's permanent. And this is just who I am and where I'm at. And no matter if you want to help me or if I want you to help me, I won't even take the first step in getting myself out of here. And I'm not trying to, make this sound more dramatic for the sake of this
No, it's called you
conversation.
pulling accountability out. I get it. Go ahead.
This is this is it. And so like I've had conversations with folks and they're like, it's not an excuse. I'm just, and you're like,
What is that?
okay. like it's like, can you hear yourself? So my question is for the folks who are just like not making enough money, they're living in survival mode, they're feeling like they can't get out of their job or their relationship or their mental health or their physical health, and like there's a part of them that disagrees with that, that's unhappy with that. So how do you turn the switch on? What did you do to turn the switch on?
I just had to get accountable for my own bullshit. That was a big thing for myself because I was that person that was like, oh, I know that I can do this, but there's so many things that's stopping me. But in all actuality, everything wound back to me. I was stopping myself. I've passed on opportunities because of stuff. Yes, it might have because I thought at the time that it was to save other people or to help other people, but it wasn't. It was because I was deflecting my own shit. I was deflecting that it was time for me to level up on so many levels. And that began the shift in my mind of starting to think differently. Because when you are programmed to think and believe a certain way for so long, there is no such thing as an overnight process. You are real life realigning and reconditioning probably everything about yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of it has to be ready to be realigned. And I was ready for that. I was looking at, like I said, opportunities that I had passed up on. I was so mad at myself, y'all, like so mad about stuff. But at this point, I can stay mad or I can begin the process of making the shifts that I need to make. And let me tell you something, I don't sugarcoat nothing. That shit is hard. It's hard. But I understood that it was going to be hard instead of expecting this overnight flick of the switch and I'm going to be all right the next day. And once I started understanding that there was a process that came along with this, I was okay. I was okay with the process. I was okay with the journey to get there. I'm going to always be a continuing growth process. And understanding that has allowed me to be able to keep my mind clear and keep it focused on what it is that I want to do. Not saying that there's not going to be reroutes, because there are always, but I was understanding that I still had a journey to do. And I still have a journey to do. And just being clear and saying, I'm done with dealing with this shit. I'm done with being frustrated. I'm tired of being mad at the world, and once I did that, it's like, okay, now my mind's like, whoa, you got that out. So now let's get the policies in place, baby. Let's figure out what tools we're going to use. Let's start, getting things together. Let's start getting yourself aligned with what you truly want to be the most empowering version of yourself as an individual. And that was it for me.
Did you feel like you hit like a rock bottom? Like what was your breaking point? Because I feel like we get to that tipping point where you like have had enough of your own bullshit and you're just like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to change all the steps that you just kind of mentioned. But like, what was that like for you? What was your tipping point?
I'll say like the uncertainty of COVID at the time. Because again, this was March of 2020 when like my mental was like really hitting a low. I was like frustrated. I was waking up mad. Like I was waking up like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this. Like I'm literally like snapping out. And it's like, girl, but then also I'm having like aches, body pains, stuff like that. And it's like, all of this stuff is like aligning together. You're aching because your body's aching. Your mind is aching. You're tired. You're so mentally frustrated, Kisha. And it's like, and then I think maybe I started like looking on YouTube about some stuff because I like to listen to things and I like to read a little bit too. And I think that there might have been, and I honestly don't know exactly what it was, what particular video it might have been, but it literally broke me down and I cried. Like I really cried because I was so tired of living life how I was living. I had a job. Financially, I can't even say that I was struggling financially because I really wasn't. I wasn't in a place that, that I felt that I should have been. But again, that was all because of me lacking my own self-prioritization and putting everybody else's needs ahead of my own. I passed, again, remembering just so many things that I stopped myself from doing because I didn't want to leave other people or, but I was really at a mental low because I was just super frustrated and I was aching and I was tired, having headaches. And it's like, I'm going to the doctor and they're like, yeah, you're, we don't see anything, so, just live this life and change what you eat. We always hear that, go on a diet. But it was deeper than that for me. And it was time for me to really find out what that was. And that March of 2020 was that breaking point. I literally sent a message to my family and said, right now, I've got to focus on me because I'm about ready to go to prison. And that's like real life, the message that I sent because I was so frustrated with everybody's bullshit. And I was tired. I was just tired.
Yeah. And I think what you're also sharing it's the emotional baggage that we carry,
Yes.
and that is what that unrelenting stress that does not stop.
No.
It's just constant, and if we're not dealing with it, and I talk about this all the time, energetically speaking, where the energy, it's not just like a mental health issue, it's a full mind body energy field issue.
That
So
part.
when that
Yes.
stress is building up so much for so long, your body can't help but get sick to fight back. And
Yep.
so it's your body's going to take you down. You don't listen to the signs, you don't see the signals, and you don't stop. Your body's like, oh,
I'm
okay,
gonna stop.
you're
I'm
cute.
gonna stop. That I'm gonna stop you.
Yeah.
I just had to get scared. Of course, I was fearful. Just so worried about how things were going to turn out. Because again, I was operating in that restricted state of mind. So yes, I was fearful. Yes, I was wondering if this was going to be worth it, and stuff like that. But it was like, no, Kisha, let's rewind and let's just focus on the right now. The right now, you are mentally frustrated and you are ready to break that. You are ready to unchain yourself from that frustration. And I had to realize that it was a day by day process. It was no magic pill, no magic fix. It was a bunch of work that I knew I had to put in. And I think at that point, I just mentally was ready for it.
Yeah. So have you always felt like you had that like mental toughness, like throughout your childhood, throughout your young adulthood, just that mental toughness?
I had, like I said, I've led like a very rough life with regards to like being a street person, fighting all the time, gang affiliations, all of that. Just growing up, my grandmother, raised me. My mom was, struggling with her own demons back then. And, that was a part of it as well. I'm very transparent in my story. My mom wasn't as active in my life as I felt she should have been. But my mom was also struggling with her own troubles. So, we are very close now. We've overcome, so much, and I'm so grateful for that. But yes, I was a mom at 17, running the streets, felt like, no, I'm not keeping my child. My grandma's gonna keep my child. And then I lost her at 21. So then I'm really angry now because I literally had to become a mom overnight. So, but still having that toughness and still suppressing my emotions and not showing that I was grieving, because my grandmother was my everything. But I cried, but I did not grieve like the loss of her at 21, because again, I had this mindset of, I got to be tough. I got to be strong. Nobody's going to see me weak. I'm not going to show you nothing. And I carried that so long, and again, that was a part of my mental breakdown as well with regards to that, because that was the mindset that I lived, that just keep everything inside, keep it all in. And that's just not how we're supposed to live life. So,
right. And a lot of times, having that guard up, it does protect you. And so, as you're at this place, I'm sure you've done it 100 times where, we also have to give gratitude for that part of us that helped us survive. That anger and that walling up and that holding it all in, it kept you alive, and it allowed you to survive probably some of the hardest times. And so now, after that phase, it's like we still have to look back and we have to heal those parts of ourselves that grieve, that had the loss, that maybe felt abandonment, that maybe felt like we weren't good enough, like all of this stuff that is going on. But in your story today of saying, I know that this road is going to be tough and I'm willing to walk it anyway.
Yeah.
And, that brings me back to like, I don't know if you've ever read David Goggins' book, Can't Break Me, or Can't Hurt Me. Have you ever read David?
But I will. It sounds like that.
Oh my God. That book is intense. So he's like a special forces, like Navy SEAL. And he went through like hell and back as a child through his training. Like he lost like 150 pounds. Like he had realized, from all of his life and all of his trauma, that like he had always been seeking out just comfort. And when he started to realize his goal of wanting to become a SEAL, he realized he had to start making himself uncomfortable to make his dreams realized. And now he's the poster boy for mental toughness and seeking out physical and mental challenges for the sake of growth. And I mean, he does some crazy shit. Like he does like so extreme. You're like, I am not doing that.
Right.
Good for you though. Good for you. But his messages, he's like, people are so fucking lazy and people just don't want to do it. And I feel like that too. And some days I get really frustrated when people reach out to me and they're like, I want to work with you. I want your help. I know that you can be the person to help me, but I
That
can't.
word right there. That word right there.
So it's like, I want you to know it's possible for you. I want you to believe in yourself. And
Always.
I think that's like, it's one of my gifts as a practitioner, as a coach, and likely yours too, is like, we can feel and see in our clients' greatness.
Yeah.
You can feel what's their potential. You can see it. And a lot of times when I'm working on clients energetically, I get to see the full picture of their impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, like, whoa, like, does she even know who she is right now? Like they have no idea. And so it's hard for me to articulate, here's what I'm seeing and feeling from you. And they're just kind of like, for me? What?
Right. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that I feel the same way for myself. Like when I see my own visions or I'm given a download intuitively and it kind of shakes me or brings me to tears, like, I was chosen for that. What? Me?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like,
no, go ahead.
You finish.
No. You're so right. Like, I am so big on accountability, right? I'm so big on accountability because I had to get accountable for myself. And that is one of the biggest things, like working with me, you better be ready to be accountable. That's one thing that I stress across the board. I'm not sugarcoating for you. I'm not pacifying you. I'm going to hold you accountable. There are probably going to be days where you probably like, fuck that, I'm not working with her, but at the end of the day, every single one of my clients at the end result of whatever, and I still have some, like I have clients that I've been working with for over a year, because they know I am going to hold them accountable and keep them purposeful and intentional in their journey of whatever it is they're going to do. But if you are looking to me for, oh, well, everything is going to be okay. No, what are you doing to make sure everything is okay? Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. And so, going back to what you said with the but word, I cannot stand that but word. I literally did a whole podcast about the word but, okay? Yeah. I just, and I still use it. Don't get me wrong. But in this instance, you've got to realize that but is putting that block up for you. You're doubting yourself just with that 3-letter word. If you want to make these changes, then you have to understand that the sense of entitlement has to go out the window. Yeah. You cannot think that you are just going to wake up tomorrow and there's not any work that you got to put in. It's no different than if you start a new job. You've got to train for that job. You've got to get yourself comfortable with how you want to do your job, as a new position. It's the same thing when you're realigning yourself. You are training yourself to do new things, to learn new habits, to, implement different ways and get out of, quote, survival mode, because mentally a lot of us are in survival mode because that's what we've been, programmed to do. And that's how we've had to live our life. So getting out of that survival mode is super important to me. And gaining your inner confidence is going to come along with you breaking out of that survival mode, because you're going to set a whole new tone for yourself and be on a whole nother level,
Yeah. Do you think that there are some people who just are not cut out to be? Yeah, I do too.
I do. That's a reality that I had to come with, because, when I first started as a coach, it was like, oh my God, I want to help everybody. I'm going to help everybody. I'm going to reach everybody. And let me tell you something. I do not think that way. If you take my message, however you receive it, I love it. Thank you so much for your support. If you listen, follow the podcast, however. But listen, I'm not here to beg you to make changes for yourself. I'm not going to coddle you to make changes for yourself. You got to be ready to do that. And you've got to be ready to sacrifice. That is a word that I utilize often, because transforming your mind and elevating your life is going to require sacrifice. And if you don't feel like that you got to make sacrifices, then you just may not be ready. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I love you for having a conversation with me. go to the website, grab you a t-shirt, you can order the book, however you want to do, but I'm not about to stress myself out for somebody that clearly wants to continue to have the roadblocks up for themselves.
Right. And I think that goes to say is like, we are creatures of comfort, but we will also fight for our limitations. We will fight to stay where we are because it's familiar. Absolutely. And the road for ascension, the road for growth, the road for more money, more impact, more everything, it involves not being who you are today, not thinking the way you're thinking. It's about, hey, thank you for getting me here, but I'm going to take this part of me off. I'm going to go to that next level. Yep. And a lot of folks are just not willing to break up with themselves and to go, but I could be the better version of myself. And, it is the things that you are familiar with that can come between you and your dreams. And Absolutely. Then, people have, I work primarily with coaches, healers, and leaders. And, the sad truth is that a lot of them have a plan B, or they're kind of in between. They have like their soul work and like what they're passionate about, but they kind of have a plan B, maybe a side job. And they're in this middle undecided gray area more than not. And so when you're in this indecisive area, when you're like, do I go to my soul work? Can I even make it work? And then maybe if it doesn't, I'll go this way. All that energy that's wasted, not doing either one.
Yes.
Is exhausting them. So when it's time to put out their book, put out their offer, make themselves visible, they put minimal effort in.
Yeah.
They get minimal results back. And then they go, it was me. People don't want me. They don't want my offer. I'm never going to make it. I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I should look at my plan B. Instead of realizing, what if, just go out a limb, what if you took all of your energy and focused it on one direction? If you were going to be all in, if you're going to put it all out on the field, if you're going to promote the hell out of it, if you're going to build your community, if you're going to show up and be of service, what would you do? How would you do that? How could you be relentless? And I always like to give credit to Rachel Rodgers for that word, because when her book, We Should All Be Millionaires, came out, she was promoting the hell out of it. And I caught one of her lives and she goes, if you're catching me right now, I'm going to be promoting my book. And if you don't want to hear about it, that's fine. You don't have to be here. I'm going to be relentless and unapologetic about getting this out because I think more people need it. And I was like, can everybody just like that? To me was like, that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. People are being too apologetic about putting themselves out there, feeling salesy, or like, I'm too much. Like, listen,
I'm gonna be too much.
I'm gonna be too much.
I'm gonna be, and I say that often. Like, if you getting tired of seeing the same things from me and all this stuff, then please just unfollow me now. I have my biggest followings are like on Facebook and stuff like that, and I probably have several pages, business pages, and a couple personal pages. And guess what? You're gonna see everything on all of those pages. So if you don't want to see that, I'm sorry to tell you, but. Everybody's like, oh, well, Facebook is for this. No, Facebook is for what you use it for. You can't tell me how to utilize my platforms.
Right.
I'm going to utilize them how I see fit. You utilize it how you see fit. If you want to, entertain negative energy all day on social media and then wonder why you're stuck, struggling, and frustrated, then you go right ahead. Because that's big. I'm big on that. I don't follow the gossip sites anymore. I don't look at any of that stuff anymore. The much thing you'll catch me reality show wise is still catching Judge Mathis from time to time, but as far as like, I know that what I watch and what I entertain is what I'm going to get back in return. And I'm so mindful of that. And a lot of people just don't want to be. They want to default. They also want to look at other people's problems because they don't want to face their own.
Yeah.
So it's just like, those are ones that, all right, I wish you the best, go right ahead. But working with coaches, I have, 2 clients actually that are coaches as well. And, they want that unapologetic confidence that I carry. I'm like, okay, let's get there. But I can give you all the tools in the world. But if you still got that block up, baby, I can't help you. I cannot help you.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to understanding that you're here to be of service. Like, we're all here to be of service. So I know my listeners are these people, probably yours are too, which is I know in my heart, I'm here to help people.
Mm-hmm.
That and that alone. So if that's true, and that's genuinely, honestly, how you feel, then we have to put those people's needs in front of our own fears.
Yeah.
We can say, well, I want to be of service. I want to help this person today. But if you're stuck in your own fear and worry about judgment, what people are going to think of me, what if I say the wrong thing? That is fully self-centered and selfish of you.
That part.
That's not about other people because, I think there are people who are like, well, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't know how. Listen, like you and I figured it out. Like we're still learning. We're still growing. There's never a done place. And I think that's that threshold of getting up and getting started. That's the first biggest step and hurdle to go through. And then you're not done though. The bigger you get, the more money you make, the bigger impact. Those hurdles get fucking bigger.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm like, oh, I'm a virgin author. This is my first book. And it's like, okay, it's different from being a coach. You know what I'm saying? So now I've got to strategize as an author and not a coach. You know what I'm saying? Even though I do so many things as a serial entrepreneur, there are different strategies for each one. I can't, purpose is going to trump with all of them because the purpose is to help, in each different way. But there are still branches and roots that are coming out of this original tree of mine that are going in different routes. And I had to understand that. And that's what's allowed me to, like you said earlier, be able to do everything and still have the balance, to be sufficient in each one of them, because I know that this is different. I know this strategy is different over here. I know that I've got to do a little bit different promoting over here, so I understand that part of things. Do it get overwhelming? I'm going to be honest and say it does, but one thing about me is I don't mind shutting down everything. I will be like, all right, I ain't doing nothing today. If it didn't happen today, it's just not gonna happen today. I don't have no problem shutting down, rescheduling things. I don't have any problem with doing any of that. And it took me a while to get to that point. As a growing entrepreneur, you want to make sure that you're 100% available. But again, the self-prioritization will always be number one here for me. And that's just a lot how I walk in my journey. And that's what's established that inner unapologetic confidence for myself.
Yeah, I love that. And putting yourself first is going to reflect in everything else you do.
That part. I can pour from that full cup that we always talk about. I know that I'm giving sufficient information. I'm giving, empowering tools, and I'm not depleted, because I'm trying to do too much, and I had to learn that. Listen, y'all, as I started off as a coach, yes, I wanted all the bells and whistles. I was downloading all the freebies from other, seasoned coaches. I did all of that, right? But I had to learn my way. Your way is not going to be how they do things, even as dope as Emily is, and I love her energy so much. Emily is giving you the tools to say, you know what? This is, your intuitiveness is going to kick off this way, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to continue on that path of intuitiveness that you're going on. I can't hold your hand there. You know what I'm saying? It's a journey to take, and it's the same with me. If you want that unapologetic confidence, let me give you the starting tools to get there, but you have to be intentional in maintaining those tools and asking for more guidance as you go. Because that's just what it's about. You know what I'm saying? That unapologetic confidence for me. And I walk that wholeheartedly. I'm telling you, I'm so unapologetic.
Kisha, you are so tapped in. It's fucking crazy. So here's the funny thing. All right. What you just said. I was out for a walk last week and it's really snowy here. And we had a lot of snow, and I was, we have a big backyard and our neighbor has a huge backyard. So that's why I walk my dog back there. And there are these deep tracks in the snow from my footprints from a few days prior that were frozen. So I was following my own tracks around, and on my way back, I decided to take a detour off of my own trail and just forge a new path. And I'm pulling my zipper down, taking my hat off, I am sweating and I'm just working my ass off. And then I stop, and there's the sun is beaming on my back, and it's the most gorgeous, bright, sunny winter day. And then I just stopped there, and my guides basically just said, because I made my way back to the trail, they go, look at the trail. this is what you give people. You're not just laying the path and telling them, follow my footprints and create an Emily business.
Yeah.
You're saying, to your exact point, is you can follow in my footprints for as long as you want. And this path is long. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I've gone a long way. But what I want to do is teach you how to have the intuition, how to have the senses, how to have the strength, how to have the confidence as you're following in my trail, but so how you can do it for yourself. Yeah. So when it's time for you, you can forge your own path. And listen, walking on my trail, like, it's a hell of a lot easier than forging your own path. Yeah. But what a lot of people make the mistake of doing is trying to forge their own path before they know what the hell to do. And then next thing you know, they're lost in the woods and they have run out of water and they have no more tools and they have no shelter. And they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. and so it's like, you know, you follow a coach like with like Kisha or myself, and you're like, listen, follow the path, but we're not teaching you how to be us. Yeah. We're teaching you how to be the youest you in the way that's right for you.
I love that. That's so important. We are individuals for a reason. Yeah. You know, you can follow the biggest person in the world that has 50 million followers and, you know, but guarantee you, they walk in their own journey. They trusted their own process. They built their own, you know what I'm saying, transformation. And that is what we want you to do, is to just build your own transformation. Utilize the tools, take what you get. You know, it's like, you know how you used to download like the freebies, right? From, you know, people that you get the emails. Yes. You get those freebies or you get those webinars and stuff like that. You take what resonates with you the most. You take what value you can get out of that. Nobody's saying that the whole 90-minute seminar or webinar is going to be for you. It could be 5 minutes of that webinar. But take that 5 minutes and turn it into your own, you know, because once we become our own empowering being, hey, listen, we are unstoppable. And that's exactly why I know this podcast is called Just That, because we are unstoppable, but you got to be ready to sacrifice to be unstoppable.
I agree. That's so good. I feel like that was just such a big, like, mic drop moment that I feel like we're like, and it was all said. It was all said right there.
It was all
said. So listeners, I know you're totally vibing with Kisha. Like, she's been there, she's done it. She's no bullshit. That's what I love about her. Straight shooter, people who just say it like it is. Like, we don't need to sugarcoat. We don't need to hype people up when they need to, like, actually face the facts that they need to do the work. Yeah. You know, you and I are really alike in that we are very, like, internally self-motivated. And like, I don't even need to ask, like, who keeps you accountable? You keep you accountable. I know you do.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I do. And you know, it's good to have a support team. And I do. I have aligned myself with some amazing tribes of women, men, everybody, you know, but it's a new alignment for me. So, but I am my biggest accountability partner, and we have to be our biggest accountability partner, because who else is going to do it better than you?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So Kisha, let people know how they can find you, how they can work with you, how they can pick up your book, and just share all the things, please.
Sure thing. Well, I have my podcast, which is the Empowering Real Talk podcast. Listen, I'm giving it straight raw and uncut over there. I've got amazing topics, amazing guests like Emily over there. So y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 1, and then follow me on your favorite podcast streaming platform for 2, and definitely catch me in Emily's episode over there as well. You can find my website, which is www.upgradedmindsetswiththez.life. That's pretty much where is the central station for myself. You can find everything about me. You can find the programs that I offer. You actually can find where you can get the book. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's here locally as well in Peoria, Illinois. You can actually shop my online store, which is upgradedmindsets.shop, which I have over a dozen like motivational quotes for hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs. I've got my ebooks over there, easy download stuff. And like I said, but everything can start at upgradedmindsets.life. That's where you can find with everything, the podcast and everything else. Just so much going on. I've got some courses that'll be coming starting April 2023. So all that. So if you subscribe to anything about me, then you'll make sure that you stay updated. So I'm definitely, dropping empowering real talk everywhere I go. So I'm glad that I was able to come here and do it as well. So.
You have a gift. You too. And you all you who are on Instagram, you can take a screenshot of this episode, post it in your stories, and tag me and Coach K at Instagram, right?
Yep, it's Coach K Woods, WDS. So yep,
yeah.
I'm on all social media platforms with that handle. So follow your girl everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, I'm all over, baby.
Great. We'll have all the links right in our show notes. If you miss anything, or if you're driving or you can't write it down, it will all be in the show notes. So you can always go back to that. If this episode was inspiring, or if it was helpful, or you had some ahas, share it with a friend. The best thing you can do is tell somebody what really made a difference in your life, some sort of breakthrough, because it helps that energy just to expand even further. And perhaps, whoever you share it with can be your new accountability friend. And when you're ready to take yourself and your business seriously and to be held accountable to doing the damn thing, you can reach out to either of us anytime. We're here to help support you in making your vision come to life, and so that you can live up to your potential.
Absolutely.
Kisha, so fun. I just love you.
Fun.
So good to have you here. And
thank you.
It was my pleasure. So you guys follow Kisha, go over to her website, get all the things. And thank you all for listening. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Take good care.